Picture this: a crumbling cathedral in the heart of Siberia, its bells silent for decades, hiding a secret so heavy it could bring empires to their knees. In a forgotten village, I found a diary, its pages yellowed, its words trembling with fear. The priest who wrote it, he wasn't praying for salvation. He was guarding gold and something far darker. You're not ready for what I'm about to tell you, but you won't stop watching until you know the truth. The year was 1920, and the Russian Empire was a ghost, its grandeur shattered by revolution. In a remote village called Verkhachori, nestled deep in the Ural Mountains, stood the Cathedral of the Exaltation, a towering relic of faith and power. The locals whispered that its bells, forged in the time of the Tsars, hadn't rung since the Bolsheviks swept through. They said the cathedral was cursed, that anyone who climbed its tower never came down. But I wasn't there for rumors. I was there for the diary I'd found in an antique shop in Ekaterinburg. A leather-bound book, its cover etched with a cross, its pages filled with the frantic scrawl of a man named Father Grigory. The diary began with a confession. I have sinned, not against God, but against the crown. Father Grigory was no ordinary priest. He was a confidant of the Romanovs, entrusted with a mission so secret it was never spoken aloud. In 1917, as the revolution closed in, the Tsar's loyalists hid a fortune in gold, bars, coins, and jewels inside the cathedral. But it wasn't buried in the crypt or locked in a vault. It was hidden in the bells themselves, melted into their bronze, disguised so perfectly no one would ever suspect. The diary described the process in chilling detail: how the gold was smuggled under cover of night, how the bellmaker wept as he poured molten treasure into the molds, knowing he'd never live to see it reclaimed. I stood in the cathedral's shadow, the diary clutched in my hands, its words burning in my mind. The air was thick with the scent of damp stone and pine, and the silence felt alive, watching me. I had to know if it was true. The tower was forbidden, its door barred by rusted chains, but I found a way in. A loose board in the sacristy, barely wide enough to slip through. The stairs spiraled upward, each step creaking under my weight, the air growing colder, heavier, as if the cathedral itself was warning me to turn back. At the top, I found the bells, 6 massive giants, their surfaces pitted and green with age. They hung in eerie silence, their clappers removed long ago. I ran my hands over the largest one, feeling the faint etchings of symbols that didn't belong to any church. The diary had mentioned a code, a sequence of strikes that would reveal the truth. But as I searched for a way to test it, I found something else. A hidden compartment in the tower wall, sealed with a cross that matched the diary's cover. Inside was a single page, torn from the diary, its ink faded but legible. It wasn't about gold. It was about a pact. Father Grigory wrote of a secret society, the Order of the Saffron Veil, formed to protect the Romanovs' final legacy. The gold in the bells wasn't just wealth. It was payment for something unspeakable, a ritual meant to ensure the Romanovs' return, not in life, but in spirit. The diary hinted at experiments, forbidden rites conducted in the cathedral's crypt, where the line between faith and madness blurred. The bells must never ring, he wrote. Their sound will wake what should stay buried. My hands shook as I read, the tower's shadows pressing closer, the air thick with a hum I couldn't explain. I should have left then, but I couldn't. I needed proof. Using a metal rod, I struck the smallest bell, just once. The sound was wrong. Too deep, too heavy, like a heartbeat echoing through the stone. Dust rained from the rafters, and the temperature plummeted. I struck it again, following the code in the diary. On the third strike, the bell cracked, a hairline fracture splitting its surface. Something glittered inside, a sliver of gold, unmistakable, gleaming in the dim light. But before I could touch it, the tower shook, a low groan rising from the crypt below. I ran, the diary and the torn page stuffed into my coat, my breath ragged as I stumbled down the stairs. The cathedral seemed to fight me, the walls closing in, the air thick with the smell of ash and something metallic. When I reached the village, I showed the page to an old woman, a descendant of the cathedral's last caretaker. Her face paled as she read it. "You struck the bell," she whispered. "You've woken it." She refused to say more, but her eyes told me everything. Fear, not of me, but of what I'd unleashed. Days later, I learned the cathedral had been sealed by local authorities, its tower declared unstable. No one mentioned the gold, but rumors spread of strange lights in the village at night, of bells ringing without cause. I kept the diary hidden, its secrets too heavy to share, but I couldn't stop digging. The Order of the Saffron Veil wasn't a myth. It had left traces across Siberia, in forgotten churches and buried vaults, each one guarding a piece of the Romanovs' lost legacy. The real treasure wasn't the gold. It was the truth Father Grigory died to protect. A truth tied to rituals, power, and a cathedral that still stands, its bells silent but not empty. What would you do if you found a secret like that? Would you keep digging, or let it stay buried? If the story shook you, it's because it was meant to find you. Subscribe to the channel, but only if you're brave enough to hear what comes next.